Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR today for Thursday morning, July 7th, 2022. The man they call Meathead, Matthew Thomas, the current defending champion of the PWR Fantasy Draft. But the way things are going, he won't be the next champion, that's for sure.
Let me just say this. There's been strategy instituted from the start, and I haven't gone and dug up those tapes yet because that's what I do with the PWR Today Show tapes. I have them hidden in my backyard. But I believe on that draft show, when I picked Austin Theory, I said, and your future Money in the Bank winner. I just need to go back and confirm that.
You know, as I go over the shows here, so we've got 6 pay-per-views in the book now, or premium live events, whatever the crap they're calling them, right? But Matthew, you beat me at WrestleMania Backlash, you beat me at Hell in a Cell, and you beat me at Money in the Bank. However, for Double or Nothing, Matthew, I scored 630. You scored 60. For AEW's Forbidden Door, 365. You scored 0. You can win all the WWE pay-per-views you want, but when I shoot my load with AEW, it's just you're not going to be able to catch up.
Yeah, I'm very uncomfortable with that statement. And let's talk about something else.
How about the sponsor?
Oh, yeah. And then please note the Collar and Elbow brand has nothing to do with that previous segment or any images that may have been conjectured up, because that would have nothing to do with the Collar and Elbow brand garments at all. You want to wear those. You don't want to use those on any for any cleaning purposes or anything. CollarandElbowBrand.com. Enter promo code LindaK. Save yourself 10% off. Oh, and I could not think of it yesterday, but the newest edition from Collar and Elbow brand, the Parts Unknown shirt. Oh my goodness! Between Loser Leaves Town, Parts Unknown.
Do you know what that shirt reminds me of, Matthew? You might be too young for this. I know Linda listens to the program, and she might even be on the road right now. Linda, Matthew, listeners of the show here, do you remember the band The Hunger and their hit single "Vanishing Cream"? That's exactly what that looks like the cover of their album for the Vanishing Cream single. Look up The Hunger, and it looks just like the Parts Unknown t-shirt from Collar and Elbow.
Fantastic.
All right, a little bit of news here before we get into AEW Dynamite from last night. There is a new court date for Jeffrey Nero Hardy. It's going to be Friday. Actually, I apologize, not Friday, but it's going to be August 2nd. I saw Florida, and I instantly said Friday. No, it'll be Tuesday, August 2nd, in Volusia County, Florida. It's the initial hearing was actually set for July 5th. However, nothing's happened. Jeff Hardy has also filed a court. There's a filing on behalf of Jeff Hardy waiving his arraignment and his right to be present at any pretrial conferences. So basically, just like, yeah, I did it, and you guys just tell me what I need to do. Things not looking good for one Jeffrey Nero Hardy.
Yeah, I mean that's that unfortunately comes with the territory there, and it's good to hear he is owning up to it. But hopefully everything works out as good as it can.
We've got more Jeff Hardy stuff coming up in Dynamite tonight, including Christian Cage referencing Jeff Hardy in some yawa kind of moments in Dynamite. But let's talk about Tony Khan and the news of Claudio Castagnoli's AEW contract. It has been confirmed by Tony Khan that he has signed a multiple-year deal. He's not just there to fill in for Bryan Danielson. Claudio is the real deal, formerly known as Cesaro, and he is part of AEW.
No, without doubt. And I mean, you saw how he was featured at Forbidden Door. You saw how he was featured at Blood and Guts. I mean, this is more main event light than he's gotten in his.
Did you say Blood and Guts or Bud and Nuts?
Blood and Guts, I think that's I'm not sure.
I was watching a different pay-per-view.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that pay-per-view you can score points or not. I'm not sure. You might end up racking up some more draft points on that one. But no, this is a main event player, and this guy, given the appropriate presentation, and by appropriate presentation, I don't mean any type of gimmick tweaking. I mean just giving him the opportunity, putting him out there in the main event. This can be one of the faces of the company. So good on them, and hopefully he is used appropriately.
Let's get into Dynamite from last night. They were in Rochester, New York, the home of one Mr. Brody Lee. And that'll be referenced a little bit later on in the program. But Brody Lee always remembered when it comes to AEW and Rochester, New York. They start off the night right away with the TNT Championship, which was won by Brody Lee in Rochester before. It's Scorpio Sky and Wardlow. Now, this was a street fight. Matthew Thomas, let me ask you a question. How is this street fight a street fight?
It's a street fight because there are no rules and everybody can jump everybody.
Shouldn't that just be a no DQ?
Yeah. I'm not sure really what made this a street fight. What about the attire? Was anybody wearing jeans?
No, but I will tell you the things I did like. Scorpio Sky came out to a UFC/boxing type entrance where he had his entourage behind him. Nice little hype music, them holding the belt above his head. I thought that was super slick.
Yeah. No, it was a good way to start off the show. And here's the thing. I was a little bit concerned once Wardlow got away from the MJF program if he was going to cool down. And it was a very, very strong crowd response last night. Now, I will say this, with once you get to the end of this, the results of this match, once he settles down into more one-on-one competition, I mean, the story that has consistently been told with Wardlow is he, as oversized as he has been presented as the underdog because he's always overcoming the adversity of MJF and Pinnacle, or overcoming the adversity of fighting off 10 guys here. I am curious to see the booking and see how they keep up his momentum once they get away from that story of this is the guy who's always overcoming these things, because you're going to have to settle in at some point. I just hope they keep the trajectory up.
Next thing they're going to have to do is they're going to have to pit him against a pure wrestler, somebody that can wrestle around him, and he'll have to overcome that. The winner of the match, a new TNT champion, Wardlow, the War Dog, Word Daddy. This is war! Yeah, okay. I know Scorpio Sky was hurt for a bit. Scorpio Sky did have a customized LA TNT championship. Does that mean that we're going to get it in Dookie Brown and orange for Cleveland now?
Oh, very possible. Hey, why
I hope not. Put it back to the red and gold, the way it's supposed to be. So, Christian Cage and Luchasaurus make their way to the ring, both out of the quote-unquote bad guy entrance. Christian, holy smokes. Matt Hardy interrupts, which he shouldn't have done. Christian dropping bombs.
Yeah.
Those look, you know what? You think you'd be better. Maybe you'd be sticking up for your brother. I thought your brother was the drunk one. I thought that maybe you should stop, living off other people's stuff. The stuff he said, I feel comfortable bringing up. But Matthew, your thoughts on the promo?
This has become Christian's thing, to skim as close as he can to what he can't get away with and really make people feel uncomfortable, to draw that type of heat that not many people draw. Of
he
course,
called him a clout chaser.
Yeah, with this and also with the Jungle Boy stuff, they're not running an operation where, he's not clearing this stuff by whoever he's working with. So being that, people are green lighting this, it still makes you feel uncomfortable, but that's the desired effect. And my goodness, what a rejuvenation for Christian and also Luchasaurus. I'll tell you right now, Meathead, I'm as interested as I've ever been in Luchasaurus. And I know I just missed him fairly early on for not being a real dinosaur. Not so sure anymore. Might very well be a dinosaur.
The Butcher and the Blade take on Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. I still don't understand why it's not Swerve in their glory instead of Bask in his glory. They continue to tease very lightly, the dissension between Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee.
Yeah, no, we got that last night. It was, in fact, not the end of the match as you thought it might be. But here's the real question. We get that. I want to hear a promo between the Butcher and the Blade. I want them to talk about inflation and meat prices. Like, I want that to be a reason that they have to.
Oh my God,
matches.
Matthew! You know what? I want to hear Butcher say "gabagool."
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I want him to call his finisher the gabagool. Yeah. I'm gonna hit you with the gabagool.
Here's the thing. We saw him back, I guess, when they were at Daly's place, like actually working in the kitchen. But
yeah, that was fantastic.
I want to know more about their, the meat industry.
Do they link their own sausages?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to know if they've got a good supply of roast.
That should be dirty, but it's not. That was a legit deli statement right there.
And hey, man, WWE, I think, won the week as far as 4th of July segments. I greatly enjoyed the hot dog eating contest, and
Oh.
Otis's overindulgence actually factored into the match. They had a missed opportunity here, man. You could have had Butcher and the Blade, like, bring out some hot dogs or something. It's 4th of July week. Come on.
All right. So Swerve and Keith Lee win the match, but that's not really what we take away from this. We get a very just hot promo from Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks. And then interrupting them is the Young Bucks. I really got, I kind of popped a little bit when the Bucks started talking about matches. FTR chants throughout the entire crowd. Now, Matthew, I told you I wanted to bring up the rankings a little bit during the Dynamite review here. I love what the Bucks did, because look at the rankings from June 29th. The Bucks are the tag team champions, number 1 contenders. Number 1, FTR. Number 2, Powerhouse, Ricky Starks. Number 3, Swerve in their glory. What the FTR did, or excuse me, what the Bucks did was skipped over FTR on purpose, because they're heels, and that's what they're going to do to the white meat baby faces, and went to the next 2 and 3. I love how the rankings played into this.
Yeah, and what an absolute natural face turn by FTR. I mean, this last handful of months, the absolute groundswell of support that FTR has gotten after, a couple of years in the company. I mean, it has been just so well done. AEW, between what we saw with Wardlow and between what we saw with FTR, they have had 2 really solid examples there of, honestly, the exact opposite of the traditional WWE approach. Push Cena or push Roman for X amount of years until people finally come around to it. This has been a little bit of, all right, we're going to, put this over here and this over here. And they have let the crowd actually, when you've had these moments here where the booking have aligned with what the crowd wanted. And I think FTR and Wardlow, 2 great examples right now in AEW.
So I do question, though, why we are getting these multiple team tag matches. I know that it's Fyter Fest next week, and that's when the match is going to be taking place. I question why we're getting these multiple tag team matches again. Yeah. When is FTR? Are they going to push that to the pay-per-view? I mean, because if you looked up in the corner in the arena in Rochester, I think it was All Out was being advertised up in the corner for Saturday, September 4th. So Are they pushing it to Saturday, September 4th?
Most likely. I mean, that's a potential main event.
I take it back. Sunday, September 4th. Excuse me.
Potential main event for a pay-per-view there. So I'll probably go to the pay-per-view with that.
Okay. You know what? I still enjoyed it. I absolutely enjoyed it. Let me ask you one more question. Ricky Starks, when does he drop the FTW championship? Because I think that championship is Hook's to take.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily see that happening really soon. But yeah.
End of the year?
Yeah, I think by the end of the year. And I mean, it gives Hook something, because right now, honestly, it's kind of an ornament on Ricky Starks. I mean, it's not really talked about a ton. It's not defended a ton. I think it needs to be Hook's.
Eddie Kingston coming to the ring for a interview with Tony Schiavone says he didn't get to taste Chris Jericho's blood, so he wants to taste it again. And Jericho interrupted him because he's a wizard and was backstage throwing Ruby Soho's arm into the car. I didn't know Eddie stood up for Ruby, but I understand now.
Yeah, was somebody holding her arm in the car? How was her arm stuck in the car?
Well, it was stuck until the door opened up again.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm a little bit over the talk of tasting blood and this, that for a while. I mean, maybe he and Moxley can get together and go wherever Indiana Jones went in that scene in Temple of the Doom. I think those two would get along quite well there.
Monkey brains. Yep. Dark Order comes out with -1 as the crowd chants Brody. There was talk that maybe Dark Order was done because they've lost a couple members due to expired contracts. They said they're not going anywhere. They showed some clips of -1 riding horsey back on a couple talents, and then here comes QT Marshall. And QT Marshall is like Brandon Cutler, right? Yeah. He's just there to get beat on. So QT Marshall comes out, and apparently -1 said on a mic, because I had to listen real close, that he's going to wrestle QT Marshall when he turns 19. Okay.
Here comes the build.
That's long-term booking. Not like they're doing at SummerSlam. I mean, that's just, that's Crash TV booking when you got, Baron Corbin and Pat McAfee only going 13 years. So
absolutely.
Wasn't that amazing to find? Sidetrack here. Wasn't that amazing to find? So, I mean, maybe they leaked it out there or maybe somebody leaked it out there, whatever. But you go back, that's all legitimate stuff. Pat McAfee and Baron Corbin, whatever his name was when he was with the Colts, were roommates. And then Corbin got cut, brought back again, played a year, and McAfee continued on. So, you know what? They've probably been friends this whole time. And now they're working a program for SummerSlam.
That's so cool to see. It really is. And I mean, they, two really entertaining characters to watch work together.
All right. Penta Ascuro versus Rush, even though his name is spelled Rush, but it's Rush. Hey, I got a question for you. You're a big Alex guy.
I'm a big Alex guy.
Yeah. We know that Alex Abrahantes is also on QVC, so we can never tell if you were a big Alex guy or QVC guy, but do you think Alex is smart enough to know not to go after Jose the assistant? Have you ever seen Jose without a shirt on? That dude's jacked.
That dude's ripped up.
Yeah, I mean, even when he's wearing that Michael Scott, silk shirt on, you can see all the bumps and the just the muscles rippling off of him. Penta Ascuro versus Rush. Rush with the big win via pinfall.
Yeah, good match overall. Don't have a ton of familiarity with Rush, but it did what it needed to do.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm probably gonna be the odd man out. Enough with the effing mask coming off. You know what? It was good the first time when it happened to Rey Fenix. It was good once when it happened to Penta. How many times? I mean, seriously, how many times? If he cared about his mask, he wouldn't have his mask ripped off every time. If it's that sacred, he'd figure out a way to keep it on.
Yeah, here's the thing, man. It doesn't seem to translate into promotions in the States because there's always.
What if it was only once?
Yeah, but you always have to have a setup, because it is not, because the fans are somewhat unfamiliar with it. It doesn't translate, I think, like they think it would.
Well, I mean, their color commentators wearing a mask too, the one that does play-by-play, and hello, Mr. Masterman. Yeah. Excalibur.
Well, you wear a mask when you do this show.
That's the only thing I'm wearing. Smart Mark Sterling and Tony Nese with Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends. Why is Cassidy talking so much?
I don't know. It's they need to pull back on it a little bit, I think.
Let's go to the Acclaimed in the Gun Club, taking on Bear Country, Fuego del Sol, and Leon Ruff. Scissor me, daddy ass, no more.
But, however, I don't think I sent it to you. There is an official scissor me ass daddy shirt available now.
Daddy ass.
Yeah. So no, I asked. Yeah, scissor me. Wait a minute. Yeah. Now I'm confused.
I thought it was scissor me daddy ass, or it might be.
I think it is. It is daddy. Yeah, it is scissor me daddy ass. Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, they just broke them up last night.
So what you're saying is we better get those shirts bought up, huh?
Yeah. The Gun Club and the Acclaimed with a 2.5-minute victory, but there's heat between the Ass Boys and Daddy Ass versus the Acclaimed. We didn't even get a rap last night.
I know. That's you feel a little bit short change when you don't get that.
I do. And I wish I was doing the show with Linda right now so I could hear her go yow. But I wasn't shortchanged with how many times JR was rapping.
Yeah, JR did. He got a little rap last night.
Let me ask you this, segueing into JR. JR is now not on the entire show.
Yeah.
There was some heat on JR because he kept calling Claudio Cesaro. Do you care? Do you want him on only part-time? I mean, where do you stand on this?
Yeah, I want whatever JR is comfortable with. I mean, it's like especially when the talent's that new, like Claudio. I mean, he called him Cesaro for how many years, and he's not the only one on that commentary table that's slipping up on the name. So I'm for as much JR as JR wants to be on there.
I don't know if I like the half shows though.
Yeah.
Because now I'm thinking of down. All right, thanks for stopping by, Larry Zbyszko. We're gonna bring in Bobby the Brain Heenan now. Yeah. That's what it feels like. Or are you gonna bring in Stagger Lee Marshall?
No, I can see that.
All right. Nyla Rose and Marina Sharif coming out with umbrellas to take on the newly formed team of Thunderstorm. Okay. I get it. The umbrellas, Thunderstorm, Tony Storm, Thunder Rosa. The winners, Thunder Rosa and Tony Storm at 9 minutes. What a good match between the 4 competitors.
Yeah, and I mean, they see how well the umbrella worked for Becky on Monday night, so they figure they should bring him out as well too. No, this worked fine.
I wonder if Sarai is happy about people using the umbrella thing. Wasn't that her gimmick in NXT for a long time?
Yeah, I think so.
The main event, AEW Interim World Champion Jon Moxley takes on Brody King, and Brody King, last week he literally held Darby Allin by his jaw, 5 feet off the ground, and then dropped him.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a bloody match, so I was okay with the physicality in it, but it was just wonky. There was some goofy spots in there.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing, and it might be a little thing, but I'm a little bit surprised that you would have a Brody in the main event with where you were at last night. Not saying it was, anything wrong with it, but it felt a little strange having it there, especially with the Dark Order segment. That being said, I will say this for the match. I'm glad it was a Moxley match where there wasn't a copious amount of blood involved. I'm glad we have a Moxley match for once where, he's not licking blood or breaking forks out or this, that, or the other.
Yeah, or picking zits or whatever he does. I'm also very, very over. I don't want it anymore. Stop telling me, hey, we were told we can go over. You went over a minute.
Yeah.
JR going, for those people that do that DVR thing, shut up. Enough of that already. If you're going to go over, go over. I literally record a half hour over all the time.
Yeah, and
I learned my lesson when Kane took his mask off 19 minutes after the hour.
It's not abnormal. It's fairly commonplace, I think, with wrestling fans for the last 20 years. So it's not, out of all that AEW does that is novel, going out of your way to highlight that, I don't think is necessary.
You went a minute over.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know why they do that, though? Right?
That's
to top that quarter hour.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yep. All right. Well, that is AEW Dynamite. Matthew, we're going to be back tomorrow at this again. Now, you and I hadn't talked about the totals. Let's talk about the totals. The PWR fantasy draft for the 22-23 season. The man they call Meathead leading at 1,665. Linda Kay in second place, 1,455. And then sitting in third, dead last, 1,010 points. Matthew, you did beat me at the pay-per-view, 420 to 415. However, again, you make a move and you get a lucky theory win in the pay-per-view. I pick up Liv Tyler. I get a win in the Money in the Bank and a cash-in. You can't keep up, kid.
Well, here's the thing. If you picked up Liv Tyler, then you would have gotten nothing because it was Liv Morgan that won. So I need to go back and read the text message to make sure you actually got Liv Morgan and not Liv Tyler, because we might have to go back and make a few changes, huh?
Hey, well, I mean, there's love in an elevator, loving up when I'm going down, but Liv Morgan scoring the big points for me. All right, Matthew, let's get to it tomorrow. For Matthew Thomas, for Linda Kay, I'm the man they call me. And hey, thanks for stopping by. And my Kelly Blue Book value of my car is 28.5. So long, everyone.